Hello, my name is James, I'm the Mayor of Jamestown, and today we're going to be talking about EA Originals' latest game that they'll be publishing, called Wild Hearts. Now, EA is definitely not a publisher you typically like to see on the box of brand new games or IPs, but this one might be a little bit different, because as it stands, the list of EA Originals are actually pretty good in the form of Unravel 1 and 2, A Way Out, as well as It Takes Two, which we all know did exceedingly well. Not to mention Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, a game that was developed by Respawn Entertainment but actually survived EA's meddling somehow, and it became a title many people tote as being very, very good, and they can't wait for a sequel. So it seems when EA want to, and they don't meddle, their developers can actually make some really solid titles without the need of a bunch of microtransactions bogging it down. Now, as it stands, we don't know whether Wild Hearts will or will not have microtransactions, but considering that the majority of EA Originals don't seem to have microtransactions anyway, hopefully it won't. But with EA, who actually knows anymore? But enough about EA, let's actually talk about the game and what it seems to be. I'll be honest, until about 2 hours ago, I didn't actually know what Wild Hearts even was. I just saw an email from EA, loaded it up, watched the trailer, and was very pleasantly surprised. I'm sure I'll be showing excerpts of the game throughout the video, but essentially the game is a Monster Hunter title similar to, well, Monster Hunter, Dauntless, and more importantly, Toukiden, or Toukiden. I don't actually know how you pronounce the name. So the game is going to have the very over-the-top hack and slash sort of style you get with Monster Hunter games, along with plenty of outlandish monsters to hunt, obviously. The game is going to be set in feudal Japan, and there's going to be some weird gameplay mechanic using ancient technology that allows you to basically create weird inventions on the fly. I'm not even joking when I say the word flying. A dude literally creates a tower of blocks, takes a little helicopter down to a monster, and then slashes him in the face. In the trailer, they also show off timed bombs, as well as basically a trebuchet hammer, where it like charges back and then smashes the monster on the head within like melee range. Very odd design, but it seems like an interesting strategic element to the Monster Hunter sort of routine that we're used to. As it stands, we don't know how useful or strategic the system is going to be. As it stands, it seems fairly simplistic, but again, we'll just have to wait and see until the game actually comes out and see whether it is super integral to the game plan or if it's just something you can kind of ignore. But yeah, for the time being, it seems like a fun extra addition to the Monster Hunter formula. Going back to my earlier point about Toukiden, however, the game is actually being developed by the same people that did the Toukiden series, Megaforce. So the team know what they're doing when it comes to Monster Hunter titles, because as of what I've played of the Toukiden games, I've really enjoyed, and if this is just a next-gen version of it, but with some new gameplay mechanics and gimmicks, I am well up for it. The game's current release date is February the 17th of 23, so we've not got that long before it even comes out. We've got, what, about 5 months? Not even that. With the game only having just been announced, hopefully there aren't any delays and this isn't just some trick to build up some hype, because we all know how that goes, it does not end well. So hopefully the release date is what they say it is and that the game is mostly finished. They just need to tweak some things over the next 4 to 5 months. When the game does eventually get released, it will be coming out on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC, so it's only going to be on next-gen platforms. So for anyone still rocking the PS4 like myself, or the Xbox One, you're in for a rough time, unfortunately. Moving on to the visuals, the game actually looks really nice, and looks quite similar to Ghost of Tsushima in some sense. A big part of that is definitely down to the fact that they both take place in a very similar sort of feudal Japan setting. But the period of feudal Japan is a good one anyway. There's a lot of myth and legend surrounding it, and there's so much you can take from it, and the fact that they've already done Toukiden, which has a very similar sort of time period as what Wild Hearts looks to be, it makes sense the developers would go for it because it's a great looking time period. There's plenty they can pull from it, and it's just a great setting overall. On top of this, we've seen a couple of different weapon types in the video, mainly swords and bows, but there's something a little bit different about the sword, as you can see from this clip here. As you can probably see, the sword gets infused or is just by default like this and can turn into a sword whip, which is super cool, and I really hope every weapon has some kind of alternative state to it. Oh, and I failed to mention that one weapon type that we did not see very much of, but is very much in the game, is an umbrella, and that is absolutely incredible. Going back to the weapon state theory, if the sword can be changed into a whip, and the umbrella, as you can see in the footage, is open and fanned out doing tons of flurry sort of strikes or whatever, in theory, it could then be closed to do, I don't know, single blunt attacks. So with something like an umbrella that naturally has two states, open and closed, and a sword that also for some reason has two states, whip or not whip, there is a chance that every weapon type in the game has a second alternative state. There may even be a third alternative state, or it could all be speculation on a 2-minute 27-second trailer. There's just not enough evidence. If the game does end up having dual states for all of its weapons, that would definitely make the roster of weapons so much more interesting. But again, we've only really seen 2 or 3 different weapon types. There could be 10 weapons in the game, there could be 5. We just don't know. There's not much to really get from the trailer, unfortunately. Overall though, I'm cautiously optimistic. To be quite frank, if I wasn't, I wouldn't be making this video in the first place. Just looking at the trailer itself, I'm quite looking forward to the game. It looks like it'll be a fun Monster Hunter title that isn't quite Monster Hunter, isn't quite Toukiden, but is going to be its own unique take on the genre, and hopefully the game comes with a bunch of different weapon types, because honestly, Monster Hunter games are so much more fun the more weapons they add to them. Unsurprisingly, the game will allow for online co-op. That's made pretty clear from the trailer. It does only show, I think, 3 hunters at a time though. That might just be for the trailer's purposes. We don't currently know if it's going to be 3v monster or 4v monster or even more. We just simply do not know. But anyway, I'll be looking forward to any news the game slowly drip feeds us throughout the next couple of months. If any other big news comes out about the game, I'll probably cover it, as I'm actually quite interested to see how well the game ends up turning out. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think EA will completely ruin an interesting idea, or do you think they'll leave well enough alone and actually give us an exciting new IP to enjoy for the first time in a little while? Anyway, that's all I have to say on the matter. I've been James, the Mayor of Jamestown. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Thank you for those that stuck around to the end, and until next time, goodbye.